Readers are leaders. The more you learn, the more you earn. I agree with that to a point. It used to be that I would just buy every single book that people recommended and read it religiously. And then I realized a lot of them kind of say the same thing. I almost think it's better to read one book 5 times than 5 books 1 time. And I know what you're thinking right now. You're like, well, Clark, you're gonna recommend to me new books. Yeah, but if I had to read these 5 over and over again, these are the ones I would reread and do go back to. And so in this video, we are going over the 5 books. Don't cheat. Don't cheat, guys, don't look. I'm gonna lay out each one, and I'm also gonna give you a big kahuna, giant takeaway from each, so you get some ahas and a little preview of what you're getting yourself into, all right? Very first book, we got Jonathan Haidt's The Happiness Hypothesis. What 10 ideas actually work to make people happy? One massive idea I get from this book as I was rereading it is that ultimate freedom can make you freaking miserable, okay? Now, I know this sounds like a paradox because some of you are in jobs right now that you don't like, and you're like, well, if I didn't go to that 9 to 5 or, open the frickin' Zoom meetings all day, I'd be a lot happier, Clark. Or some people, they're in relationships and they think like ultimate freedom would be awesome if they weren't. Whatever you want to apply that to. In this book, it talks about one study that I found fascinating. One dominant factor that looked at suicide rates amongst people. You know what that dominant factor was? Constraints. That the people who were more likely or less likely to off themselves, it came down to having constraints, having something outside of themselves that they were responsible for. That if we don't have any responsibilities, in other words, if we're totally free, we can also be totally miserable. I know this from personal experience. When I quit my job and I was in my mom's basement, 30 grand in debt, technically, I was absolutely free. But I would wake up every day thinking I had to start this business, right, with this overwhelming, crippling anxiety. Because I'm like, well, I'm starting from scratch. I have all this freedom in the world, but where do I even start? And then your head gets spinning and blah, 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 blah. It wasn't